I tested 5 mobile video editors so you don't have to. Some were really amazing and some were quite the opposite. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Schorle and I make tutorials, reviews, and vlog every once in a while. And today we are putting 5 mobile video editors, technically 6, but I compared 5 and gave my opinions based on my past experience. So therefore I tested 5, but that's beside the point. I put those mobile video editors head to head. So before we can even break down the details, I want to give a handful of criteria. I have a list. I haven't counted it. Doesn't matter because those criteria are where they are available to you, their ease of use and how easy they were to learn, available adjustments, which is like color, position, that kind of thing, effects, which is anything fun and special and anything outside of your standard, music, export options, and cost. Today's competitors are, heaven forbid I do another one of these, VN or Vlog Now, CapCut, Video Leap, InVideo, and Canva. Let's check out the first contestant, Vlog Now. This app is not only available for iOS and Android, it is also available for macOS and Windows, which is really great. So if you're tired of editing on your phone, just bring up the project on your computer, which is great considering that I spent like multiple hours on my phone trying out each of these apps. I specifically wanted the mobile experience for all of these, but if I was exploring more of this app's environment, I for sure would have used the desktop version just to give myself a break, but I did not for this video, but it's there, which is amazing. This app was also super simple to use and easy to learn. I did not look up any tutorials or anything for each of these apps, and that holds true for this one. And I know that there are also many tutorials out there in Reels format, in TikTok format, in pretty much any vertical format. Sort of unrelated, this app does seem to also be able to function as a video editor, so that's kind of a plus. In terms of adjustments, I will say this app was probably my favorite in terms of adjustments because you have your standard color adjustments, you even have your HSL, so your hue, saturation, and luminance type adjustments. And my personal favorite feature is that you can even import your own LUTs, which is a lookup table for colors and whatnot. So if you've bought a LUT from your favorite content creator or downloaded it from your favorite resource site like Motion Array or Artlist Max or Envato Market or wherever else LUTs are sold, then you can install those in the app. Now, in my experience, you're probably better off installing them one at a time versus trying to install 30 at a time. Yeah, I'd had basically like force quit the app, and I think I even had to like fully shut down my phone and then reopen it just to be able to access the ability to try to import another LUT. So that was fun. Moving on to effects. This app does have plenty of effects for you to complete your creative endeavors and fulfill the idea that is in your mind. You have some basic spins, bounces, zooms, and the ability to use masks in your videos. So you can use a shape mask and you can even animate those masks. In terms of music, there wasn't a whole lot to choose from. You can filter by the mood that you're looking for, but there still wasn't that much to choose from. Once you've added your music, or maybe you've done that earlier in the process, but once you're done, you are ready to export your video, and this app has arguably the best export options because you can export in 4K, 2.7K, 1080p, 720, and 540 at 24 frames, 25, 30, 50, and 60 frames per second, and you can choose your bit rate. Now, for someone who's watched a bunch of videos about bitrate and how that can change the overall export of your video, the average user is not gonna know what that means. And now the elephant in the room, what is the cost of such an amazing and well put together mobile video editing app? It is at the low cost of free $99, but there is a option for a paid subscription where you do get a few extra features such as no ads. Not saying you get an ad in the middle of your edit, but when you open the app, you do get a ad, and there are ads displayed in other sections of the app, just not in where it matters. and you can pay either $10 a month or $70 a year for said subscription option, but you are totally fine to use the free option because the options you do get from that paid subscription is not that much extra, so you are totally fine just using the free option, in my opinion. Next up is CapCut. Spoiler alert, CapCut is the ultimate winner here when it comes to availability, because CapCut is not only available on iOS and Android, it is also available on macOS and Windows, but also online. Heaven forbid you're traveling and you're tired of editing on your phone, you can just go use whatever computer is available. Assuming that the internet is decent and the computer isn't crap, you can sign in online and edit your video at a computer with CapCut. And again, this app was super simple to use. I mean, as it should be, considering that the makers of TikTok made this app. Just like the last app, I did not watch any tutorials on how to do stuff in this app. Speaking of tutorials, I know there are many out there, so if you're looking to accomplish XYZ effect, there are A, B, and C tutorials out there, and there are also many templates available for CapCut in a similar way that they are available for Vlog Now. In terms of adjustments, this app is just as feature rich as Vlog Now. You get your filters, your HSL to correct, and many others. Now, in comparison to Vlog Now, there was no way to import your LUTs, but again, that's not a deal breaker. That's just really cool for the people who own LUTs. This app has plenty of effects. It has the ability to remove you from the background. That is called the cutout feature. Also has the ability to retouch your face and body. Has animations. It also has that automated lock-on tracking feature that you see a lot in dancing TikTok videos and whatnot. Typically that's something you would do in After Effects or manually in Premiere. This has a dedicated function for it. You can also do this in other mobile video editor apps, but there's typically like a workaround for that. This has a dedicated function for that style. Additionally, you have the ability to create masks and animate those, as well as keyframes, which I forgot to mention. Vlog Now also does keyframes. Music. There's lots, like TikTok made it, so there's lots of resources for music. You can choose music based on the mood that you want, and you can also import music from your phone. And just like Vlog Now, this has many amazing export features. You can export at 480p, 720, 1080, and 2K/4K. You can also export at 24 frames, 25, 30, 50, and 60. They do not provide a bitrate, but they do have a smart HDR. I'm a little bit hesitant to even attempt to use that, just because there's a lot of tech out there that is more like HDR-ent, as in it's not very HDR, or the HDR is not great. So I would just rather personally leave that alone. I have no experience with that, so take that with a grain of salt, but I personally am hesitant to use that feature, but hey, it's there if you want it. Premiere Rush is up next. Just like Vlog Now and CapCut, Premiere Rush is available on iOS and Android, as well as macOS and Windows. Premiere Rush is part of the Adobe Creative Cloud suite, as well as Adobe Express, so you can't download it as a singular app for desktop anymore, but you can download it as a singular app on your phone. Premiere Rush is really easy to learn. The first time I used it, I don't believe I watched any tutorials on how to use it. I just dove right in and it was really simple. And this is the kind of app that maybe makes the most sense for people who edit in Premiere, because they can start a project that maybe they filmed on their phone in Premiere Rush and then finish off the project in Premiere Pro. Premiere Rush has some really basic effects because it's designed to be able to start a project and then ultimately bring the project into Premiere Pro. So that's why there's your basic transitions and your push-ins. However, it does have auto reframe. So if you film something horizontally, you can use Premiere Rush to do the auto reframe. So you can always have the subject matter in the center of the frame. It does have a large selection of music, and majority of it seems to be from splice.com. I thought it had an integration with Epidemic Sound, but I guess that's just the parent app, Premiere Pro. And with that music selection, there is no filtering options for you to say, I want something energetic. I want something moody. I want something sad. You just look through a list. Now, in terms of export, you can export at 720, 1080, or 4K. You have a few less options for frame rate, so you can either export at 30 frames a second or whatever you filmed your video at. So if I filmed the video at 24 frames a second, I can choose to export at the matched frame rate, so I can then export at 24 frames a second. So if I want to export at 60, I have to film my project at 60, so I can just export using the match frame rate function. Otherwise, it just suggests to me that I should export at 30 frames a second. Now, like I said earlier, this app is part of the Creative Cloud plan or the Adobe Express plan, and that costs $9.99 a month or $100 a year if just paying for Adobe Express, or $55 a month if you pay monthly for an annual plan of Creative Cloud. Next up is Videoleap. Now, unlike all the previous apps, Videoleap is only available on iOS and Android. There is no desktop counterpart or online counterpart. It is only available on iOS and Android. I found this app to be super simple to learn and it's very easy to use. In terms of adjustments, you have your filters, your color correction with HSL, and that's split out. You can do your cropping and your other basic level adjustments. In terms of effects, you have a glitch effect. You have the ability to create an AI image in the app, and much like Vlog Now and CapCut, you have the ability to do a cutout and create outlines around yourself. There's also a vanish feature, so I'm assuming that's if you want to erase portions out of your video. So basically like content aware fill, but for video. You can also do a chroma key in this app. There are many other features, but those are a couple of the effects, and you also have the ability to keyframe. For music, this app integrates with Epidemic Sound. You get a small selection that provided by Epidemic Sound, but otherwise that is part of the Pro plan with Videoleap. But you can also use music found on your phone. This app too has a great variety of export options. You can export at 360p, 480p, 720, 1080, and 4K at 24 frames, 25, 30, 50, and 60. This app is also free, but also has a paid subscription option for some additional features, some of which allow you to spread a effect across all your video clips instead of having to do it to each individual video clip. So that's one way around that. But if you pay for the Pro plan, you have that option to spread effects over multiple videos at once. Next up is InVideo. And unfortunately, this is where I start to not be too happy. This app is available on iOS and Android as well as online, but the experiences for online and in-app are vastly different, but both are not great. To keep it simple, I probably had the most amount of issues with this mobile experience. I also noticed that looking at the screenshots for this app are vastly different than what are actually in the app, because the screenshots show a horizontal timeline like all the other video editor apps I've tested today. When I got in the app, it's a time list versus a timeline, and it threw me off, and I don't like it. Also had a handful of issues regarding trying to trim a clip from the right-hand side. The app often thought I was trying to move a clip up and down to reposition where it was in the timeline, not try to make the clip smaller. I also tried to overlay a video clip that was longer than 3 minutes, which was shot on my phone in 4K 24 frames a second, and the app was struggling. So this app does allow you to do a fairly decent amount of adjustments. So you got your standard HSL and some other fairly standard adjustments and filters, speed adjustments. In terms of music, there was a lot of options to choose from. The music does again appear to be from Epidemic Sound. They do advertise Epidemic Sound when you go to music, but that is a separate cost. It is not a larger selection of music that you get for buying a pro plan. You are able to filter by the mood you are looking for, and you are also able to use your own music from your phone for your videos. The export options were a little lackluster, so you only got 480, 720, 1080, and 4K. In terms of frame rate, you only got 30 frames or 60 frames. That's it. Would love if there was a 24 option. Would really love if there was a 24 frames option, but there is not. And the cost of this is once again free. There are some features that are behind a paywall, and that paywall comes at a cost of $80 a year for the pro subscription. And if you ask me, that is not worth it. And last but not least, Canva. Obviously, we all know Canva as the photo and document and many other things app, but it can also do video. It is a very feature-rich video editor online, but the story is very different in mobile. It is available on iOS and Android as well as online. And like I said, it is a vastly different experience on mobile than it is the desktop site online. The editor is fine. You just have to work with a lot of layers, and you can't always see all the layers without moving things around to get to other layers. You have some very basic effects, but again, you're limited on mobile with many more features for desktop. Again, it's kind of in the same boat as Premiere, where it's intended for you to start the project on mobile and then finish it off on desktop in the parent app. On mobile, there are 0 music options, but plenty on the desktop version. Export options are there, but they're not the same as what you would get in any of the previously mentioned mobile editing apps. At least you don't get the same level of control to export to 480, 720, 1080, or 4K, or 30 or 60 frames a second, or even 24. It's just, do you want to download it, or do you want to export it to any of these other platforms for sharing and exporting and getting something sent to whoever needs this file? The cost of the app is free, but you can also pay for the Canva Pro plan, and that comes at a cost of $13 a month or $120 a year. So what are my conclusions? In the end, it was a little bit of a hard decision. I know which apps you should not use for editing on mobile and which ones are a definite go-to. And honestly, I really think it's a tie for first place between Vlog Now and CapCut. Both are amazing. Both are great. Both have plenty of features for you to create exactly what you want to create on mobile. Vlog Now is aimed more at creating something really nice and getting it posted as short form content or even long form content, while CapCut, because it's made by the same people who made TikTok, it's aimed more at social trends. You can use it to do what Vlog Now is intended to do, but it's definitely going to want to push you toward, hey, there's this trend happening, follow that trend, do the trends, please be on TikTok. And in second place, Video Leap. It's great. It has everything you could ever ask for. It doesn't have quite as much as Vlog Now and CapCut, but it is still an amazing mobile editing experience. And the honestly not even honorable mention is InVideo. I was not a fan. Even when it comes to adding text in the mobile experience of InVideo, you can only add text. You can't really make too many adjustments. There are other versions of different fonts that you can use, but there weren't that many effects, and the experience was very lackluster, and I hated the time list experience over a timeline. Just not my favorite experience. It may be a good experience for someone, but that someone is not me. So what are you doing still watching this video? Go out and make something, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.